I'm greedy. I'm greedy to make my work better.
How many years of being in fashion?
I would say close to 30 now. Very often the stylist is sidelined a bit. I think after the event, it's all about the designer created this. And I think that's a little unfair.
Tell me what has been the key factor in you moving from a stylist to a style icon and almost a final word on fashion in India.
I mean, I wish it was that easy, right? Moving. I've not moved anywhere. In fact, I feel like, people seem to think that fashion is just a moment. For me, it's always been the momentum to keep doing what I do, to keep challenging myself. And I think I definitely don't consider myself a fashion icon. I think that's hilarious. I feel, I would say authority I could take a little bit like fashion authority.
Final word on fashion is what I would say, and all those who run after you for a selfie, all the fashion students at every event testify that.
I think that's so sweet, right? Because if I have built something that they feel they want to, grow towards, I feel very flattered. I feel very humble.
Almost embarrassed.
Almost embarrassed, but happy.
Yeah.
I have to say, it gives me a great joy to meet fashion students.
Everybody knows the Anaita now. Everybody knows how your journey has been, all the fabulous covers you've done, including so many covers for Bazaar. I want to know, when you were growing up, what was your fashion diet like?
Fashion was a very integral part of it, like in a very strange way. Like my parents were very chic. They had that whole 70s swag, like big collars. My mom always had these printed shirts and like her bell-bottom jeans. She's only 5'1", so she always wore like 6-inch heels and like plexi with diamonds. My dad had these like, needle pin corduroy jackets. They were cool, sideburns. I always felt like they were hot and they were hip. Yeah. And even my grandparents have a very, very strong bent on fashion. So my paternal grandparents were more traditional. Like my grandmother did hand embroidery and she wore beautiful saris, simple jewelry, elegant. Whereas my mom's dad was a dandy. He only wore suits, including like light blue, lilac, cufflinks. Like his cupboard was full of ties and pins, and a trip abroad meant shopping, which is pretty much who I am. My mom's mom only wore black like I am today. And she did the most incredible hand embroidery. I wish I had some of the clothes she had made for me as a kid. Sadly, we didn't value it then. And my grandfather's wife was like very chic. She went to the races and she changed her wigs for each Sunday. It was a different look, chain belts, Poochie jumpsuits. So I had fashion in my face.
You were consuming it on a daily basis.
Absolutely, without realizing it.
Yeah.
But yet, at the end of the day, I was also exposed to the sweet simplicity of a good Parsi household.
You study fashion?
I didn't study fashion.
This is a revelation because the final word on fashion in India didn't study fashion but knows everything.
But I studied political science and psychology, which helps me deal with my job.
Yeah, okay, fair. You used a very interesting word. You said one of your grandparents was almost a dandy.
I mean, he was a dandy.
Did that mood board come to you when you were styling everybody for Met Gala?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, when it came up, I mean, it's something I grew up with. Like my granddad had a bespoke men's tailoring shop at Kala Ghoda, where the richest of most sophisticated men there came to be measured in his little dukan.
Yeah.
And I would sit there at the desk. At that time also I thought I wanted to be a songwriter. So I used to sit there writing love songs. And I still have some of those papers with his shop's letterhead, some song called My Guy, and like rubbish like that. Yeah. But also I was amazed at the transformative part of people coming in, trying on a suit which is made to their measurements. It's perfection. Yeah. The detail of engineering and how they felt when they wore that.
Tailoring.
Super fine tailoring at its best, at its best. And also the transformative, I think, power of fashion is what still keeps me excited.
Tell me the non-fashion disciplines, whether it's arts, whether it's literature, whether it's poetry. What are the other things apart from consuming fashion that inspire you when you're doing work?
I feel like I'm an observer by nature. I like to see creativity in all its forms, whether it's architecture, whether it's an art exhibition, how jewelry is made, how a bag is sewn. So I think different things influence me in different ways. Like I remember the first time, I would say experiences are more my creative jam. Yeah. Like I remember the first time I did scuba diving in Lakshadweep. And I was petrified because I thought, I'm going to be claustrophobic. I'm not going to manage this. But when I went underwater and I saw these colors and the color combinations, I feel till today, I mean, you've seen so many underwater inspired shoots, or even the way, like nature, oh my God, the way nature has been a school for me or an influence for me, I think nothing else has in all my work.
What skills or instincts cannot be taught in a styling school, but you've just learned it on the job?
I think there's a lot that can't be taught in a styling school. Otherwise, maybe I'd have one. But I think I've spawned an industry of stylists without having a style school. I think that proves my point that you need to learn on the ground. You need to be observant. I'm saying that again. Get off your phone a bit and look at how people are dressed. Like at an airport, I can spend hours just watching people. Experience and instinct can't be taught. I think, like for me, people say, oh, let's follow trends blindly. I've never been that person. Yes, I've been fortunate to be in a position where I've set trends. Like when I've worked with magazines, I've always had to forecast 6 months in advance what the trends are. But I think that to me came very naturally because I feel I have an instinct for cultural movements. I kind of know what's going to be in next. And maybe that's because of years of reading magazines, reading books, seeing how people dress, and also treating people as individuals, not as one of a herd.
Yeah, and also having the confidence to be an authority on something and having an opinion.
Yeah, and also I feel like, authority can't be claimed. It has to be earned. So for me, I've just done what I do. And I mean, you know that for years at all my jobs, I was the behind the scenes person who did what she did. And happy to be that. I never cared about how my glam was or how I looked. That's only a recent change.
So you said something very interesting, which was a part of my questions. You said that I've always been a behind the scenes person, but I have seen you on sets. You know, your aura on a set, a fashion set, is almost larger than the celebrity you are shooting.
I don't know about
Firstly.
that.
Secondly, I feel like you're able to do so many more looks than another stylist because you don't get intimidated.
I think more than that, I'm hardworking. Like I want to get like more bang for my buck. So I feel like, how, editorially budgets are limited. I'm like, a celebrity will walk in and say, I only do 4 changes. I'm like, but why? It's a story about you. Let's do 8. Let's have those choices. And, I always have a full rack, if not 10 racks of clothes. So I'm greedy. I'm greedy to make my work better. And
this is after how many years of being in fashion?
I would say close to 30 now.
How do you feel like you've arrived, or do you think there's more? Okay.
Oh my God, I just feel it's a journey. I feel extremely grateful that I get to do what I do. I mean, like, who else gets to style 3 iconic women for a Met Gala? Hello, But I'm also very blessed, Sonal, in one sense, is that I work with people that I love. And I feel it's very important to respect people you work with, bring their talent. But of course, yes, I am the captain. So if I feel my first mate is not doing a good job, I will correct them privately. But I think my job is to bring out everybody's best. Even the person I'm styling, right? I don't just look at them as a blank canvas. I look at who they are, their backstory. At the end of the day, we're narrators. I'm narrating a story. I'm creating a space for each person. So it's very important that I have that story in my head before I go and try to create it in real life. So yeah, it's very important to respect a person's personality.
How do they end up trusting you so much? So when you say that, take this off and wear this, I have seen the biggest of celebrities will agree and they will do it. Now, I don't see that with everybody.
I think one is because I've repeatedly delivered individual styling on people. I don't treat people as a herd, which I think is a big issue with young stylists today. I feel they're all looking at the same international supermodels and trying to make everyone look like them, which is why a lot of the younger actors don't have a style personality.
Or like themselves.
Correct.
Like a lot of stylists are making their celebrities look like themselves.
Perhaps, because they're also aping the same role model. Whereas for me, I go in with a very different approach. It's about you. So for example, if I'm styling you, I'm not necessarily going to give you this dress, but this dress is me. So it's about, working with the person and also the event. What is the story? Like, say it's a launch of an international jewelry brand, then do I want to bring an Indian story into the clothing or do I not? I think very hard about what I do.
India is a big inspiration for who you are and the way you style people. What excites you about Indian fashion right now?
I feel that we have the most in-depth heritage of fashion. Okay, I think we haven't even tapped the surface of it yet. I also feel we have incredibly talented designers in our country and jewelry and accessories. I mean, we have it all, right? It's like, for me as a fashion magpie, It's like my field day. I can just pick from wherever. That's my job as a stylist, right? Also to work with the designer and to bring out the best in them. Like very often I feel when we talk about like these big events at the Met Gala and, and weddings, very often the stylist is sidelined a bit. I think after the event, it's all about the designer created this. And I think that's a little unfair.
Can you explain to me the difference between a stylist just putting on an outfit on you versus styling you?
Well, I mean, as a stylist, I don't know anyone who should just put an outfit on someone and say, hey, you're styled. I mean, that's just lazy and ridiculous. For me, it comes from, it's everything. It's head to the tip of your toes. Whatever you see is coming from my brain. But again, like I said, it's a collaboration. Yes, of course, I will collaborate with designers who are incredibly talented because I don't have that talent. But whether it's an accessory, whether it's what kind of hair and makeup, even down to like how you should pose in that particular outfit would come from the stylist or should come from the stylist.
Your brain,
Yeah.
Chain of thought.
Correct.
Okay, so Anaita, you don't typically style people the way you are. Like you said, you'd never put that dress on me, right? So I want to understand, except that one time, I thought in Gehraiyan, I feel like Deepika was you. Okay. I'll tell you why. Because I have seen you off a boat from Alibag in your slippers, in your ganji, in your shorts, and she was so much like that. But you don't typically do that, okay? What does it take to keep your sense of style aside and just look at a person for who they are and then figure the rest out?
I must say it is tricky, right? Because at the end of the day, who I am is what I will put out, right? What the knowledge I have. But fortunately, I am multifaceted in my fashion choices. And I can choose for a person and an occasion without it looking like me. Like why should it, for example? Like if you look at even the recent 3 Met looks, there's no similarity in the looks. It is for each of them and what I played to their strengths.
I think your signature is glam.
My signature is glam. I'm not a minimalist by nature for sure, but I can do it.
Social media creators with way lesser following than a lot of stylists, a lot of celebrities often give their 2 bits about how they should be styled, they should not be styled. Now we know that there's an entourage that is there behind styling these mega stars. What's your thought process on these social media creators giving fashion gyan?
So I feel more eyes are great, more voices, nice. But I do feel that it's important to make an informed opinion. But at the same time, I love the whole democratic approach of social media on fashion. I'm happy to see what people think because it is their personal view. But I feel people who are doing it as fashion authorities should have a little more context to what they're saying. Because like if you're talking about a particular thing, know where it's coming from, understand the person. It's not a blanket rule that everybody should wear the same gown. Understand fashion history, because at the end of the day, you are setting the narrative of today's fashion. This soon will be fashion history. But at the same time, I feel there's a lot of emotion involved in what we do, right? When you say an entourage, yes, it is an entourage. We are creative people that come together to create a look. It's thought out. And yeah, you may not like it. So I feel it's okay to share a constructive opinion. I think it's not nice to be mean or bully. I think that's not nice at all.
Do you care when you read something in your covers like not appreciated or a look that you created was spoken?
I do care a little bit. I do. I must be honest with you. I'm only human. I do care. But at the same time, you know what I look for? I look to see there's a pattern. If many people are saying the same thing, then yeah, sure, I'll learn from that. Why not? You know, at the end of the day, we have to learn and make our lives better. So it's important to have credibility when you're doing it.
Can you describe a time for me when the look you created for somebody, whether it's in a film or whether editorially, became some sort of a distinguishing factor for that celebrity or their legacy?
So I feel there are a couple of them for me. The first, I think, would be the time that I styled Deepika a lot. It's where we worked with Cocktail. And I think that film definitely had a fashion, cool reputation, ability, I don't
Very
know.
much.
You know.
At that time.
Yeah, and I feel like it was not a Deepika people had seen. It was quite a transformatory phase in her look. And I'm very happy to have been a part of that. Of course, I've done many other films with her, whether it's Tamasha or Finding Fanny, where we've had different looks. But I think that was a moment, even for me as a stylist, it was like, oh, wow, okay, films can be, you know, fashion forward and cool and streety. Just the fact that her hair wasn't perfect and it was like, you know, distressed was such a big thing. Now we take that for granted. We don't even think about it. Earlier, it'd be like, Arey, why was her hair so messy in a film? Whereas that was the first time we saw that So that I think was a big moment for me. And I think as a costume stylist, even before that, Dhoom 1 and 2, like John on the bike, and suddenly I saw people in Nariman Point wearing leather jackets. I'm like, is garmi mein, what are they doing? But it was a trend. It transcended.
They've been influenced before you became an influencer.
Exactly. And I think when I think back now, I love the Schiaparelli and Sabya look that I did for Natasha at the Met. For me, it was really a coming together of many influences. She's such a style icon, and it's a true case of a real collaboration, where minds come together, hearts come together, and then something beautiful is created. Yeah. So I have so many moments that are important to me. Like, there was a Cindy Crawford cover that I did where we shot in LA. I mean, she was the 90s icon supermodel. I loved her. I lived for those women. And I put her in this sparkly sequin dress, which was like, very Zeenat Aman, Parveen Babi. But then there was uncut Indian jewelry. Just all of it just makes it so special. Or like, shooting with Kim Kardashian and putting her in a Gautier-inspired sari couture dress. I mean, God, it's endless.
Yeah.
But I still get excited because I'm on to the next. I'm like, what am I going to do next? That's what excites me.
Real people, red carpets, editorials,
Yeah.
print shoots, films.
Yeah.
What excites you the most?
Editorial is my first love, as you know. You've seen me and witnessed how I come to battle to create the best stories.
Yeah,
ever.
then and now. And it's been so many years, but I don't see that enthusiasm fade.
No, I love it. I absolutely love it. I love it because, it's actually a dream that I have in my mind's eye. And how am I going to translate it for the world to see in the best possible version? And also, I'm in charge and I like being in charge.
Yeah.
We've all established that.
Yeah. So I think that's my happy space.
Talk about your wedding, marriage, all of that. I want to ask you, who is the Nepo spouse?
I think neither. Our household is the most non-industry household ever.
Yeah.
Like, literally, my kids don't know who anyone is. Homie and I never discuss work. It's so peripheral. We're like, if he starts telling me something, I'm like, okay, okay. If I start saying, I can see his brain dead. He's not even actually listening.
Yeah.
But we're there for each other when we need to be.
Yeah.
I think that's very important. If I have to make a decision, I will ask him, and he's way more practical than me. I'm quite like Lala in my Lala land very often. And I'm also, I can be very emotional about a situation, especially if there's some kind of a conflict or a doubt. And he just sets me straight. So he's my complete sounding board and my rationalizer. Yeah, we have worked together on numerous films. In fact, there's only one show of his that I didn't do, which is Saas Bahu, because I just thought I wasn't the right fit for it. But he's very different as a director and very different as a husband.
Yeah.
So as a director, there's no nonsense, but an extremely decisive director. I love that. Literally, like, I think for Cocktail, say we did like a 2-hour fitting for Deepika and it was locked, like one time, and then a few punches here and there.
Yeah.
So yeah, we get along really well. And also he tells me off. Like, I remember I wanted to do these long skirts and he was like, not at all. Do it in your fashion world.
Yeah.
So I think, like, my husband will never come to a fashion show. He's been asked by numerous people to walk for him. He's like, no way. So I think even though our worlds are very different, like, I love dressing up and going out. He hates it. We are the perfect balance. Yeah. And our values are the same. We want to holiday lots and travel.
Yeah.
And I think
And be in shorts and slippers.
Be in shorts and slippers, or even less. And I think more importantly, we want to raise good boys.
Yeah. And this is fun boys. Both of them.
They are fun. They are fun. I can't believe how fast they're growing.
What's the journey been from a stylist to a content creator? Because you're a full-time content creator now, whether you accept it or you don't.
No, but that's not true.
There are like brands happening, shampoo brands, denim brands, clothing brands, bag brands.
So for years, I worked behind the scenes, as I said, right, with the camera facing out. And then the lockdown happened, and I think people were desperate to get content, right? And there they saw me, this person who seems to know something.
Yeah.
So they're like, chalo, turn the camera on her.
Yeah.
And that's how it started. Very, very organically.
Yeah.
Never a planned move. Like I always say, I'm an accidental influencer, creator, whatever you want to call me. I don't have a political issue with what you call me. Also, in my career, I've always helped young brands, especially Indian brands. I've also always mixed international fashion with Indian fashion in all my editorials and on the people I style seamlessly. So now I brought that more to my Instagram, right? I started showing that off, and I love that I can help younger brands in whichever way. If they feel they want to see their clothes on me, then I must be doing something right.
Yeah.